Hi, all. Welcome to week 3. Um, we will be moving along this week, but I want to let you know that I have put in the to do list for this week for you to submit or resubmit your visual rhetorical analysis. I was having computer issues. We were switching out computers this week. It was a whole lot of chaos on my end, but it works in your favor because I'm giving you an extra week to take the feedback that I have finally made sure that everybody who has submitted has and revise your visual rhetorical analysis using that feedback. So that's going to work in your favor. We are going to continue moving on, though. This week, the writing is not as hard for drafting, so you should be okay to complete the final draft on that and begin revising on this. Additionally, you only have one reading to do this week, and it's very specific. So I'm going to walk you through what we're going to do this week, starting with chapter 14. But again, go back, look at your visual rhetorical analysis feedback. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I'm opening the submission up for a second submission. If you guys have already submitted your final draft, go back, read my feedback, make your corrections, and resubmit. And if you haven't submitted yet, you have an extra week on that. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Let's take a look at chapter 14. So we're going to be looking at argumentation this week. And one of the big things about argumentation is a lot of people think when we get in an argument or when we talk about an argument, we're talking about a disagreement or a fight. But argumentation in writing is simply stating your position, taking a stand on an issue, stating that position in a logical and clear way with evidence that supports your position. So, a key piece of writing a solid argument is also that you provide background information that presents both sides of the issue. And then you want to be able to give your evidence. So you have to have evidence to support your position. And I remember thinking when I started on my PhD, well, when do I get to give my opinion? And all of our professors basically said, you never do anymore. You have to cite evidence. And believe it or not, you get that stuck in your head long enough and you realize your opinion doesn't matter. It means nothing if you don't have the evidence to support it. So, for most of you guys, you followed the instructions really well for the visual rhetorical analysis. You understood some aspects of ethos, logos, and pathos, and you can use those tools to help you create your argument itself. Now, you won't actually be writing a paper this week. You're going to be doing an annotated bibliography, and I'm going to show you some examples of that. But I want you to take a look specifically at what you're going to be doing. In the assignments page, I've given you 3 topics. Can individuals do anything to resolve the climate crisis? You'll find that essay on 587 and several more like it. Is free speech on campus in peril? You'll find that and several more like it on page 600. And then how can we stem the tide of gun violence? There are several articles regarding that starting on page 626. So you're actually going to use 10 different sources, but that should give you a place to start. So you're going to choose your topic and you're going to develop your thesis statement. Most of you did really well with the thesis statements on the visual rhetorical analyses, but make sure that you have a clear, arguable point in your thesis statement. Your audience is not going to be relevant this week because you are gathering and documenting that evidence this week in the form of the annotated bibliography. And it really is kind of, well, while you want facts and figures, opinions of credible people matter. So an expert opinion leads itself to the ethos, and that can lead to high credibility. So if a doctor tells me I need to give my child this vaccine or take this medicine, well, that doctor's experienced research on it, maybe worked with it, read more results than I have. I'm probably more inclined to listen to my doctor than I am, one of my church lady friends who had a friend who had a friend. That doesn't have the credibility that my doctor does. So you want to look more for credibility than anything else. But it also needs to be relevant. So the relevancy means that it should be time sensitive as well too. I've got a lot of good resources added in this week. They're going to kind of help you grasp what I mean about it being relevant and important for the times. So, the way that you are going to document this essay is through that of an annotated bibliography. And I have this attached in there. This is not quite MLA, so make sure you fix that. But, so you've got your annotated bibliography. You've got your works cited. Notice that they're in alphabetical order. You've got your paragraph here. Each of those paragraphs is telling the reader what information you garnered from this resource. So these are pretty healthy paragraphs, and they should be, because you want to make sure that you have as much information as you can in there. So let's take a look at some more things. Let's go back to pages. Pages. Let's go to pages. Did it take me to pages? No. I want to go back to modules. Let me do it right. Okay. So we're going to scroll down here to 3. So one of the things that you can do is as you're writing the annotations, those are your notes. And we talked about that the first week. You want to look at how to write an annotated bibliography paragraph. And so the OWL at Purdue is a great resource. Anytime you're trying to learn anything on your own, I highly recommend their online writing lab. It is a great free service that they offer to everybody. And I use it quite often regardless of grade levels because it just does such a good job of simplifying information that might seem a little too technical, particularly for college freshmen who may not have had English in a while. So I always check the OWL at Purdue. But anyway, so the annotation that you have, that paragraph that I just showed you, right? So this paragraph needs to contain a summary, paraphrasing what's in the article that you picked. You want to also assess it, meaning what is the quality of it? Is it useful? How does it compare with others? And think about this, like a lot of times people say, well, this article said the same thing that article said. That's actually a great thing, because the more articles you have saying the same thing means the more likely your information is accurate. So the more sources you have that say the same or similar things, the better off your argument is going to be. I like to think of an argument as an argument must have at least 3 things to support it. You've got to have at least 3 pieces of solid evidence. And in this regard, I'm asking you to gather 10. And then you can narrow that down later, but you're going to turn in 10. So you want to be able to summarize, assess it, and then you're going to reflect on it. And that means, how is it going to fit? What job might it be? Is it for the argument? Is it for the counter argument? Anything else like that? So Purdue even tells you why. It's gathering the information. That's what's important about an annotated bibliography, to help you get your ideas together. Okay? And they even have let's see about their MLA handout. Let's see what that looks like. So they've told you here how to cite your sources. That's really good. I'm going to show you a few shortcuts in just a moment. So that's a really good thing to have there. I'll come back to that in just a moment. So let's also look at the CRAP source evaluation. This parallels your textbook really, really well, and it's from Benedictine University. I love their method. The currency here means that it's looking at the timeliness of the information. Is it an article from 2010? Is it an article from 2024? How might that information help you? Is it relevant? Is it important to your topic? Some of you guys wrote some really vague things, so what you were talking about wasn't really relevant to your image, and I dinged you on that because you want to be saying something that is relevant, so you need to pay attention to that. Authority goes back to the credibility, but again, paying attention to URLs, and I'm going to show you how to cite those. Cool little features for that. But anyway, a .org might be valid, might not. It depends on what their purpose is. .nets, same thing. .coms, again, they're commercial. EDUs have a little more credibility to them. I'm not going to say anything about the government, but .gov sites also usually have a lot of statistics. So how accurate or reliable is the information or truthfulness? And then what is the purpose? So you use that CRAP method, and then they even have some checklists down here that you can print off if you want to. But you're going to use that CRAP method to write your summary, assessment, and reflection so that you can then do your annotated bibliography. So, your proposed annotated bibliography, and actually, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to see if I can copy this. Let's see if I can do this. Edit. I want to show you a feature. I'm just going to copy these first two here. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I lied. I'm going to show you a lovely little feature that I think you guys will find helpful. So I'm going to go into my Google Docs, and I'm going to pull up an MLA report. And I don't need any of this jibber jabber, so I'm going to delete it all. And then when I get to where I'm going, all right, so I've deleted everything. I'm going to make sure I put my actual name in there, professor's name, subject, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to play around with this for just a minute to show you what this looks like. So, in the actual annotated bibliography that you will share, just prior to that, you want to tell me your topic and then give me a working thesis statement. It doesn't have to be the full thesis statement. So notice that what this is giving me right here is a hanging indent, which is exactly what I want, but it also added the paragraphs there. So I need to hit the return button, and I need to hit the return button, or the delete button, sorry. I hit the return and then I hit the delete button, and it lines it back up. So now I have to hit the tab key to get everything back where I need it. So this is my citation, and this lets me know that everything below that is coming from there. My next source landed here. Notice when I hit the return key, it goes straight under it, but I don't want it to do that. So I have to backspace it. But it also pops in down here. So now I have to hit the return key and then the tab key, and it moves my citation over. But see, I still have this problem here. So I'm going to do the same thing. Hit the return key, and it pops it into place just like I need it. So I'm going to hit the return key again. Notice we have the same thing happening here. I'm going to hit the backspace, and then I'm going to tab over twice, and then I'm going to hit the delete key, and now I have my two citations with my paragraphs there. Okay? Now, how did I do all that? Well, first and foremost, Google just did 90% of the work. Google Docs had it already double spaced, already Times New Roman, already page numbered, already all this. I didn't have to worry about that. Google already had all of that there. So I've been able to create that in here. Other interesting things. Let's go to Google. Don't pay attention to those two people. I'm going to look up climate crisis. And I'm going to scroll through UnitedNations.org, but it is a highly recognized organization, so the .org there might be really relevant. Well, let's say that I really like all of this information, and I plan to use this website in my paper. If you go to your Google add-ons, your Chrome add-ons, you can get this lovely little icon right here. See the little blue arrow pointing up? And I want the MLA in its most recent version, so I'm going to go with MLA 9. It gives me the citation right here. This is what I have to put in my paper. So I'm going to click to copy, and I'm going to go back to my paper. Notice it starts with an N. So I'm going to go back to my paper. I have a B there. Oh, and I have a C there, so I'm lucky. I get to go down here. I'm going to hit the enter, and I'm going to hit the backspace, and then I'm going to hit Command V. Ooh, notice it populated, but it lined up there, so I got to backspace it again. Then I have to go here, had to hit Return and Tab. But, once again, I have my hanging indent. And so now I can go underneath there, and I can write up my information from the United Nations. Another really good website, let's see if we can go to it, is Google Scholar. Let's see if it'll let us go to Google Scholar. Show you some little features in Google Scholar. I'm going to look up climate change here, see what we got. Oh, I don't know why it won't let me go to Google Scholar, but that's okay. We will go back over here, and let's go to the library. And in our library, we can pick lots of different things. I prefer to go to Academic Search Complete. So I click on Academic Search Complete. Going to, what's it? Okay, I gotta go accept cookies again. I'm going to go to this one. Sorry, I told you guys I got a new computer. This is what you have to deal with. All right, so we're at the Academic Search Complete. Academic Search Complete. So I'm going to type in climate change. Here's some really cool features. So let's say I want to use this article. This is the really, really, really cool thing. So let's say I find information in this article. Right? Y'all. Look for the quotation marks, because when you find the quotation marks, guess what it does? Why is it not letting me cite it? Oh, am I on the wrong thing? Hold on a minute. Oh, no, here's the quotes I want. All right, so I cite here. Bada bing, bada boom. It gives me it in APA, but what did I tell you we needed? MLA 9. Bada boom, bada bing. There is my citation. So I get to copy it. I'm going to go back to my document. BC, oh, this one was a D, so it's coming in front of the United Nations. So I had to enter there. I'm going to paste it right there. Notice the formatting. Now, some of you guys are going to freak out about this. Not a problem. Okay? Not a problem. You're going to highlight it. You're going to come remove all of its stuff. You're going to say none. It's going to be on Times New Roman. You want size 12. And that should be it. You're going to return tab, backspace. There it is. And I'm going to come under here and I'm going to start typing away at my little paragraph. If you want to move, which you do need to remove the hyperlink, hover over your hyperlink, 2-finger click, and remove your hyperlink. So, this is how you set up your annotated bibliography. Okay? If you have any questions about that, by all means, please reach out. So let me go back to, did I lose my page completely? Oh, maybe not. Maybe I did. Where do we go? There we are. Okay. So let's go back to the modules and go back to week 3. You're going to watch this video, submit or resubmit your visual rhetorical analysis, read chapter 14, focusing particularly on the articles in one of these 3 topics that interest you. And you're going to submit your annotated bibliography draft. You need at least 10 sources. You also have a discussion post for this week. And remember, to get full credit for your discussion post, you need to respond to at least 2 classmates' initial posts. If you guys have any questions, as always, I am available via email. You guys have a great week.